In this video, you will learn in full detail 3 incredible paranormal events that have occurred and been recorded in schools. Story 3. Philippines, 2015, Mass Possession Case. In the summer of 2015, a nightmare happened at a public high school on the island of Palawan in the Philippines. It all started when a student suddenly threw himself on the floor in the middle of class, screaming. At first, it was thought to be an epileptic seizure, but other students soon began to show similar symptoms. Some began to cry, while others were laughing uncontrollably, their bodies shaking uncontrollably. Some collapsed on the floor, muttering in an unknown language, while others stared at the ceiling with their eyes completely rolled up. When a teacher tried to intervene, one of the students tried to attack him. Everyone in the class panicked. The incident was not limited to one class. Reports came from other classes about students behaving similarly. It soon became clear that around 20 students were simultaneously behaving strangely. The medical teams called to the scene could not find any physical problems in the students. It was not a poisoning, a gas leak, or a food-related condition. However, the strange similarity in behavior and the way the incident spread astonished experts. Some students later said that there were black shadows in the classroom and that the entities had taken them over. Other students described seeing a tall, dark silhouette walking with their hands turned upside down in the empty hallway at the back of the school before the incident. There were striking similarities between these descriptions. As the entity approached the classroom, a terrifying sense of pressure formed on everyone's head. Parents took their children out of school as soon as they learned about the incident. Some said that their children could not speak for days, woke up screaming at night, and had the same nightmare again. Most of the students sought psychological support during this process. However, some parents offered a spiritual explanation for the incident and warned the school administration and requested that a local priest be brought in. The turning point in the incident was the priest's service at the school. Some students had another crisis during the service. These moments were recorded with mobile phones. The footage claims that the students fell to the ground unconscious. Foam came out of their mouths, and some had completely lost their pupils. The videos exploded on social media after the incident, creating widespread controversy. Many people said the videos were fake, while local media confirmed the reality of the incident. Psychologists have classified the incident as mass hysteria or mass psychogenic illness. Although such conditions are not common in a closed community, especially among adolescents, there have been documented cases. However, critics have argued that this explanation fails to explain the presences that students claim to have seen, the shared hallucinations, and the incomprehensible words spoken during the blackout. After the incident, the school administration temporarily banned people from entering some classrooms and decided to conduct religious and psychological support activities at the school for a while. However, the incident left a lasting impression on the students. Some say they still have the same nightmares and feel like they are suffocating when they are alone at night. Locals in Palawan believe that the area where the school is located was previously used as a mass cemetery during the Japanese occupation, and that the spirits buried there have returned. This belief, combined with the history of the area where the incident took place, has further increased the fear and legend. Even today, some students say that a dark presence roams the halls of that school. It is said that strange whispers come from closed classrooms, and that some teachers hear footsteps during their night shifts. And this small school in Palawan is etched in memories as one of the most talked about paranormal cases in the Philippines. Story 2. India. 2019. Child disappears in school toilet. The incident that took place in a small town in the Indian state of Uttar Pradesh in 2019 deeply shook both students and their families. On an ordinary school day, a 7-year-old boy went to the toilet during class, but he never came back from that toilet. When the boy did not return after minutes, his teacher sent a few students. However, the boy was not seen in the toilet or the hallway. School administrators began searching the building. All classrooms, the garden, the storage room, and the back of the school were searched. Security camera footage was reviewed, but the boy was never seen again after he entered the toilet. What was even more interesting was that the school toilet only had one entrance and exit. The windows were also covered with iron bars. It was impossible for that boy to get out of there. When his family was notified, there was great panic. The police arrived at the scene and started a search of the area. However, there was no trace. The boy had practically evaporated. Following the incident, the school was closed for a while. Some students said they heard strange sounds coming from the toilet on the day the boy disappeared. One of them even claimed that another face suddenly appeared behind him in the mirror. The claim that the school building was built on an old Hindu cemetery that had been demolished in the past spread rapidly among the parents. A week later, when the janitor opened the toilet door in the morning, he was startled by the sound of crying coming from inside. The missing boy was found squatting in the very corner of the toilet. His clothes were dirty, his hands were scratched, and he could not speak. Medical checks revealed that he was physically healthy, but the psychological trauma the boy experienced has still not been explained. Psychologists suggested that the boy may have consciously hidden himself. However, the fact that the toilet was searched many times after the incident and that it was not noticed increased the mystery of the incident. Even today, some teachers working at that school claim that they occasionally hear whispers coming from the same toilet, and that a shadow appears and disappears inside. Story 1. Mexico, 2022, Midnight Alarm and Headless Silhouette. A mysterious incident that took place in a small high school in the Mexican state of Jalisco in 2022 has taken social media by storm. The incident began at around 2:40 at night when the school's alarm system suddenly activated. The school security guard saw on the alarm panel that movement was detected in the back hallway. At first, he thought it was an animal or a system error. However, when he turned on the security cameras to check, he was shocked. At the end of the hallway, there was a figure walking under dim lights, a long black silhouette, but it had no head. The upper part of the body was covered in stifling darkness. The figure would move silently, as if gliding, sometimes stopping suddenly and then moving again. When the image was broken for a few seconds, the silhouette suddenly approached the closer angle of the camera. Despite the distance between them being the hallway, the security guard called the police in a panic. When the authorities arrived at the scene, there was no trace of the school. The doors had not been forced, the windows were unbroken. However, before the records were deleted, security camera footage was reviewed. All the staff saw the same thing: a headless creature, I hope it is still alive, wandering around the school. When the students arrived at school the day after the incident, one of the teachers fell ill minutes before the first lesson of the morning. His eyes were staring into space, and he kept saying, "It came again." He had never experienced a similar incident before. The school administration put the teacher on leave with a report. Rumors quickly grew among the students. Some said they remembered a dark story about a former student who committed suicide at school a few years ago. It was alleged that the student had hanged himself in the same hallway. Throughout the week, different teachers reported that the school's security system had been triggered repeatedly at night, each time from the same hallway, at the same time. One night, the janitor said he heard footsteps coming from that hallway while working alone. When he turned on the lights, there was nothing. However, he noticed that the cleaning cart had overturned where it had been left intact. The tire tracks were crawling back down the hallway. He resigned that night and never returned. Some students are still sitting quietly in class when they suddenly hear whispers coming from the hallway. Although the school administration tried to cover up the incident, a portion of the footage that circulated on social media was leaked. Although it was low resolution, it was clear that a headless silhouette appeared for a few seconds in the video. Although the incident was not officially announced, half of the school staff quickly requested a change of duty. Today, The night lights in that hallway still fail, the alarm system goes off randomly, and the recording devices suddenly crash in the morning. If you like this kind of content, don't forget to subscribe and like. Take care, goodbye, until we meet in another story.